Boogety Boogety Boogety, JB. Let's get back to racing here in the United States, too. We were just international. No, well, I shouldn't say we. NASCAR. NASCAR was just a little international. Really fun weekend in motorsports,
Guys,
JB.
ever been to Mexico? Yeah.
What a fantastic weekend in motorsports, though, JB. Sunday, a Father's Day, jam-packed. There was F1 racing, but we don't really talk about that at all.
I mean, we can
do
still
talk about a little bit of INDYCAR,
yes,
which is something that we will barely just scratch the surface of. But nonetheless, NASCAR, and this is what I really want to talk about for a quick sec, JB. I thought it was really funny. NASCAR, international, on a road course, going left, going right, driving clockwise around the track. Meanwhile, INDYCAR, in the United States, on an oval, going counterclockwise. Yeah, and they were at St. Louis.
That's kind of interesting.
I thought it was funny. I was like, wow, this is neat. This is cool. You know, what a fun weekend in motorsports. What a bunch of great races over the weekend. Yeah, also, too, if you weren't familiar, JB, I learned over the weekend, St. Louis Speedway, or like whatever the track is where they were racing this weekend for INDYCAR, similar shape to Darlington, where you have a short, like, where you have
like a kind of triangle-ish.
Yeah, I think it's a little inverted, though. I think turns 1 and 2 are narrower and 3 and 4 are wider, which there's another track, which is like the inverse of Darlington, where 1 and 2 is narrower and 3 and 4 is wider, which Darlington obviously is the other way around. But either way, really cool, really fun. I thought that, like, just hanging out with my dad over the weekend, stuff like that. We were watching the race. We were actually in a sports bar, in a booth. Both of us had the race on our phone on Prime, because the bar doesn't have like a,
which is so weird, because now bars nowadays, like, they have Prime.
Yeah.
They have the capabilities of either having Prime or being able to turn on at least 1 or 2 TVs.
We didn't even bother to ask. We were just like, I thought it was so funny. We both just like took the little like ketchup and like salt and pepper like carrying thing,
just,
and
like,
we just had it like
phone up
we just kind of leaned it up so like our phones were just slightly angled at ourselves, but we could still see the other person's screen, like we weren't watching the same thing. And yeah, we were just watching the race. It's pretty fun, man. They're down in Mexico City. First time they had an international points race in several years, maybe ever. Yeah, I can't really remember off the top of my head right now. I feel
like it's been a very long time since they've been down there. I want to say like maybe what?
It's been a while for sure.
13-ish.
But yeah, I mean, a couple international races, couple international race winners as well, because Daniel Suarez, been,
shout out Daniel Suarez,
hometown of Monterrey, Mexico, in in his hometown, ends up driving the number 9 for JR Motorsports, and gets the win on Saturday in the Xfinity Series. And then it was SVG, Suarez's Trackhouse teammate, who ended up getting the win on, what was it? Sunday. Yeah, I just don't remember my days of the week. But
they get blurred together.
Yeah,
it's okay.
For sure. But I'm curious. I still talked a little bit about my weekend. I'm just kind of ready to hear about yours, JB. I need to shut up and quit talking about mine.
My weekend was absolutely boring. I couldn't tell you a whole lot that I did besides just kind of work a lot on the computer, just trying to like make some graphics, try to edit some videos here and there. And then Sunday came along, and obviously we had a lot of the races going on. So I was trying to watch that. Obviously, I couldn't watch it on my phone because I was out a little bit, so I had to listen to it on my phone when I was out at the radio call. But still, it was still good. I don't have Amazon Prime on my phone, so I can't really just hop on and watch it. But I got to listen to it. It was nice. It was warm outside, so I actually sat outside and listened to the race rather than sit here and watch it on TV.
Oh, that's what's up, man. We got to end up getting some of those like earphones too with the radios. I don't know if they work so far away, but still, it'd be cool if you could listen to like the race radio. Like,
that would be so nice.
Just hanging out at home, like watching and listening to what the drivers are saying. You could just tune into your favorite driver and whatnot. But
that and the more races we go to, we got to get some like ear protection. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a little rough, like a couple to start out, but
yeah, definitely gets loud out there. The engines are roaring, and then like each classic car, when you go from the trucks to the Xfinity cars to the Cup cars, they get a little bit louder and louder and louder, more horsepower.
And not to mention the Indy cars as well too. If you're close, like my god, they will just destroy your ear. And
when you're in the infield, you're just like they're, especially in like the ovals, like they're these banked, like kind of like funnels the noise inward. So you're really listening to it. It gets loud for sure, but nonetheless, really
still love it though.
Yeah,
you love it.
I would have loved to have been in Mexico City for the race. Obviously, like when we were down at MS, we heard some of the other like media personnel who were going to be down there, and it seemed really cool. We saw like videos and interviews and stuff like that from some of the people we were rubbing shoulders with a week ago, which I
Yeah,
thought was kind of
so cool too. You're like,
Yeah.
wait, I met that guy.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, oh my god, like, I did not realize like how big of a deal the person who was 2 people down from me was. Like, I'm just like, I'm just like looking around. I like just trying to like wrap my head around how cool I think it all is and stuff like that. And then, just now it's just like, wow, these people are like, those are who I like. Obviously, the drivers think are really cool, but it's like, man, these people who get to follow this around and go track to track and cover this. Those are the people like I'm really jealous of. And like who I want to be. 'Cause it's like, man,
exactly.
So cool.
And I just sent you this before we started recording as well too. LeBron James, like not to sidetrack anything, but from our previous weekend when we were at MIS, LeBron James helped out a young Michigan kid actually get to the racetrack and kind of somewhat help him along his journey to fulfill his dream of wanting to become a professional race car driver.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
He was there. He got to go on pit row and got to talk to Brad Keselowski. So I thought that was kind of cool. So shout out to LeBron for helping young kids, kind of accomplish their dreams out here. Because racing is a very expensive sport, especially if you don't have the funds for it right now, and people are kind of grinding their way to get to that top level. So shout out to LeBron for taking a step forward to help out the youth.
Hell yeah. I mean, he has this whole I Promise school, so definitely does a lot for the community. That's really cool. I definitely was just checking that out as you were talking about it. So very cool. That'd have been sick to like end up running into those people.
Which I feel like we passed them, but didn't really know.
We 100% had to have walked past them. Like looking at like we're just like looking at the clouds in the sky. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to pick the time of day when they were probably down
was it
pit
Sunday?
road.
Was it Saturday?
It was definitely Sunday, and it was definitely before they fully opened up pit road to everybody. By the time that everyone else got to go down pit road, it was a little bit more bright and sunny. But when I got to go down there with just the photo, with the photo credentials, it's definitely a little like gloomy and gray in the sky. And so I'm like thinking that's got to be pre 11:30, pre 12 o'clock,
which is
like that.
Probably why we got stopped by security when they said, "Hey, we kind of like shut off pit row for a second on Sunday."
Maybe
that could have been why.
But no, that's really cool. Definitely. I mean, like NASCAR's just so much fun, man. I had such a fun time like being at the track. I have such a fun time like watching the races. And I mean, Sunday's race, man. SVG. You texted me like 4 laps to go. You're like, this is his race.
It's his race to lose, man.
He was dominant, and it was insane. I kept talking to my dad about it because there was definitely 3 clear-cut cars just like separating themselves from the pack with SVG, Christopher Bell, and then ended up being Chase Elliott as well. And I thought it was so interesting, like the gap between SVG and the second and third place drivers with Bell and Elliott was only about like at times 2.5 seconds, between 2.5 and 3 seconds. But then the gap between third and fourth was like 5 seconds. It was like there was a small gap between the leader and the next 2, but then like the rest of the pack was way far back there. And then as the race just kind of keeps going and going, to the checkered, SVG, he was nearly 20 seconds away from everybody.
Nearly 20 seconds. Exactly 16.567. That is like, exact. That is the largest margin in 12 years of a finish.
You really don't see wins of like with such a large margin of victory. Like, I mean, the road course is a little bit different, but he just flexed his muscles. He showed like how dominant he is, and like obviously NASCAR a little bit of a newer discipline to him, especially on the ovals. But like when you step into his domain, he's definitely shown why he is as skilled and as requited. I don't know if that's like the right word for it, but he gets honored well.
Yeah, you could definitely see his skills out there on a road course versus in a regular oval speedway and stuff like that. So shout out to him. Like he commanded that basically the second half of the race. So shout out to him as well too. What are you doing?
I'm shaking up my coffee. I'm thirsty. Got a little cotton mouth going on.
I got you. But yeah, shout out to SVG because he just dominated, man. Just took over. Shows how impressive he is on a road course versus a track. And like he's in the playoffs. He's got that spot now. So 10 spots are locked up for the playoffs.
You know what I'm doing, JB? He's from Auckland, New Zealand, but they sound kind of like they're from the UK. So I'm going to do my best James Bond, shaken, not stirred, for my coffee as a tribute, as the closest tribute we can get. to SVG.
The closest tribute we can get.
I'm just playing, but no, I just think that's funny.
I mean, along with the win from SVG, got some conflict going on at the end of the race with one Mr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Carson Holtravar. Like, what is going on with you, bro?
You know, Ricky told him, you know, I guess they talked a couple weeks ago, and he said, hey, you know, if it happens again, I'm gonna beat your ass, and it happened again, so he's gonna beat his ass. At least that's what Ricky said. So, you know, I thought it was funny. He just like gets in there, like
he
sticks his head in the car,
and
grabs a hold. You can see like grabs a hold of him, and he kind of like lets go a little bit. I think he kind of realizes like how like aggressive he's being. Like I'm like really just ragdolling this kid, and then he's like, all right, let me chill out. Maybe you realize like I'm on camera right now. Like, maybe that's what it was.
You should always know that regardless, you're going to be on camera if you do something like that.
But I mean, hey, dude, the first time they ever televised a NASCAR race, Kelly Yarborough and the Allison brothers got started wailing on each other in the infield. So I mean, it comes with the sport, man. Jimmy Spencer punched Kurt Busch in the face.
Yeah.
Why do you think we got to separate them on the desk, JB?
You still got to send me these NASCAR fights because, like, I know there's like a long history of
There's
fights.
a couple of really cool NASCAR like content creators on YouTube. We'll shout them out, even though you know we're the premier NASCAR coverage. Just
fast and loose.
Yeah, he's fast, I'm loose. But that Slap Shoes has some cool videos on Reddit. People, you know, dislike and like Slap Shoes. LE Productions is another one. They got some cool videos. I've sent you a couple of LE Production videos before.
Okay.
They have like those like cartoon thumbnails, if you remember those.
Oh yeah, yep.
But yeah, those are some cool NASCAR content creators, and yeah, well, they have some cool like coverage talking about like fights and stuff like that. I was watching cool ones talking about like different cool car manufacturers and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, kind of getting back to the racing and stuff like that, though. We were talking about Kurt Busch getting in fights. We were talking about Ricky Stenhouse, you know, little antsy in the garage. And then Carson Hocevar obviously like wrecking him, being a lap down, not really fighting for the race. Our guy Kyle Busch, JB, who we've kind of gotten to, like our interview with him definitely
has blown up a lot.
Has received the most love comparative to anything else we've ever done. He spun out early in the race. He was out, man, and he took out quite a few cars too in doing so. I don't know if you saw
he was upset. You could tell afterwards when they tried to interview him, he was just not in the mood to talk at all.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, I just seeing him spin around. He took out a big chunk of the field, like relative. It's like he smashed into the back of like Justin Haley. He like spun his car around. It was like he spanked the tail end of his car, and then just destroyed. I think it was like the toe link of Kyle Larson's right front tire. Did you see it? It was like skipping. And I only know it was the toe link because Junior was just talking about, that toe. He kept saying the toe link is just done on that number 5. And I would have no clue. I was like, there's something definitely wrong with that car, though.
It was a rough outing for some of these guys on the road course. So, hey, I don't know if it's a plus for some of the guys who actually had success out there or just a failure, but I can definitely see them going back to Mexico City once again, like next season.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept going international. Maybe they went to maybe a Canadian road course or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it all the time, but
Formula One was in Canada too, Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's possible. But we'll see. I mean, nonetheless, like I'm excited for them to come back, go to Pocono. We've got 3 more road courses over the next 5 or 6 weeks, I want to say, because we're gonna go to Pocono, and then it's Chicago, and then Sonoma, and then I think you get a oval, and then from the oval, I think it's Watkins Glen. Let me pull up the schedule, JB. I'm gonna double check, but I want to say that we've got quite a few road courses coming up.
Ooh, it might be a little difficult. I don't know, but you got 10 spots locked up for the playoffs right now. Who could you see getting a win and locking up a playoff spot that doesn't have one right now?
It's a great question. Okay, Pocono, Atlanta, Chicago, Sonoma, Dover.
Dover.
Indianapolis, Iowa, then Watkins. All right, so I was not quite right. We have a couple of
Dover.
yeah. They're going to the Monster Mile.
Dover.
We have.
I'm so excited.
Dude, I really would love to go down to the Brickyard. That'd be so sick. We got to go to Dover sometime too. We got to get a pair of Miles the Monster
I
trophies.
just want a picture in front of the monster.
We got to get a replica trophy, JB. We got to
How can we find this trophy? Like, if someone in the chat knows,
they have to sell them.
Let us know.
I guarantee you they sell them.
I will buy the largest trophy. I don't care how much this trophy costs. $200-$300. Like, I want it.
Yeah, no, I guarantee that they definitely have to sell. I'm pretty sure they
want
do.
this trophy.
If not, we'll find one or we'll make our own. But either way, still really cool. The schedule coming up should be really fun. I'm glad you brought up the playoff, JB. I think it's really interesting. I don't want to say SVG like stole a playoff spot, but I mean obviously you get a win, you're guaranteed a spot, and now the fight for those last few spots becomes very interesting. Like anybody who wins the race, who doesn't already have one notched on the season, it's just like making it that much more difficult for the rest of the field. And you know, not to say that SVG isn't necessarily like a real contender to win the title and win the championship. He's gonna have a tougher time. It's gonna be a little tougher for him to go up like consistently against like round after round and compete against, you know, a Joey Logano, a Christopher Bell, a Denny Hamlin, a Ryan Blaney. Yeah, like these guys are really, really good. Some of these guys are already like champions, some multi-time champions, some been in the championship multiple times, have come so close, and they're looking for their first still. I not to say that he can't do it, but I mean, I just think like
the odds are stacked against him very heavily.
Yeah, and I think
there's still a chance.
And I think come end of the year, we're gonna see a couple drivers who missed out on making the playoffs that we're gonna be sitting there thinking like, man, they were definitely good enough to get in, and they should be kind of like this. They should be kicking themselves and saying like, this was a disappointing season. This season was a bit of a failure, not making it in.
I know two of them for sure. And Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, my guys, who are like literally neck and neck in points wise, trying to make it to these last few playoff spots.
I'm hoping the RFK boys get in, man. I'm hoping at least I'd love to see all three get in. I'd love to see Brad make the playoff, but I at least want to see Buescher and Priest in. And right now they're flirting with that last spot and kind of going back and forth with each other.
It's at the cutoff line.
I'm hoping to see maybe like one, you know, Buescher get a win and then Priest get up there and. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see him get a win too, you know. But like, Priest's been fighting that those points deductions. I think both of them might have been, but nonetheless, I think like those Buescher and Priest are two drivers that I'm keeping my eyes on as like, you know, for the end of the year with this playoffs. Like, I have to double check. I think I sent you the standings too. There's one.
Oh yeah, I got it too as well. Alex Bowman is another one that I would like to see in that spot too.
Yeah, Bowman's right there. Chase Briscoe had 3 poles in a row, and he's sitting there in 14th. Like, if he ends up like missing out on the playoffs, like he's showing up to the racetrack with a fast car, just not being able to finish him out with these races. Like, that's going to be a bit of a bummer. So I would say like I'm looking at Briscoe, Priest, and Buescher as like 3 guys that I'm really going to be paying a lot of attention to as we wrap up and get closer to the end of the year. Also, like, I mean, not to say like my guy Chase Elliott's out of the weeds.
I was gonna bring up Chase Elliott as well too. Like, he's up there in points, but like he just if he's so close, but can never. Like,
I mean, say we get 5 more different winners, JB, throughout the rest of the year, then it's like you got one open spot basically at that point. Like, it's gonna be a fun wrap up to the end of the year. I think it's gonna get intense.
It's gonna get intense and tighten down the stretch.
And then once you get to the playoffs, I mean, that's when intensity just ramps right up.
It's all game. It's all game.
I mean, really going to be really interesting. Going to be really fun. But speaking of what's really interesting and what's really fun,
what's that?
That's Car of the Week, JB.
Oh, here we go.
So I think for the last few weeks you've been going first.
Yeah,
I kind of like that rhythm and flow, JB. I love.
You want me to go first again?
Well, you're fast. You know, it's fast and loose. You're fast. I'm loose. I like letting you take the lead. You know, you tend to give me the opportunity to gas up, pass, and then crash and burn first. So
I got you.
I'd love to give you the opportunity to honor your cars of the week first.
All right, number 3, starting off, Carson Hocevar with the Total Play 77 car. I just like the purple color. It's very bright. It's got a lot of colors on it, and I just love it. Like, I think that was a perfect car for down in Mexico.
Yeah, I get that.
It brings out like the liveliness of everything, and just it kind of seems a little festive as well too.
100%, I can see that.
So I like that. Number 2, rounding it out, Ross Chastain with the number 1 Wendy's Frosty Swirl once again. They brought the swirl back.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. And hey, once again, it's one of those lively cars that just, looks like it brings life.
Yeah, you brought
especially
the
where they're
party, you
at.
brought the Fiesta to Mexico. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
I feel it.
And number 1, we were just talking about this guy as well too. Chris Buescher driving the number 17, the bodyguard car, because of one fact. It was orange and black, and also it had the little Mexican
skulls, yeah,
on the back of it as well
details,
too.
Yeah,
It's just those little subtle details that I'm like, that's cool as hell. And even though it's just small on the back of the car, like it just stands out to me more.
Heck yeah. No, that's really cool. I definitely dug that a lot. Similar like colors to like the Jimmy Spencer yellow
actually,
up there right now. Like a little darker orange, but still kind of like if people are wondering like what's it like. Not super far off from that Jimmy Spencer car up there. So hell yeah, really cool, JB. I dug those a lot myself too. I got my cars of the week.
Any overlap? Like
there was one overlap, JB. So.
We always have one, or like there's always going to be one.
We do.
Please don't tell me it's a fun pop car. Oh
No. See, there was a couple in there where I'm like, I don't want to go back and redo them and stuff, but like, it's like, but there are some really nice looking rides in here. But I will say, my first car of the week, and I'm just like scrolling, JB, so that way you don't think I was staring at what I picked. My first car of the week, JB, I've shouted out this number before. This driver doesn't get a ton of love, but I dug their car. Cody Ware.
Okay.
I've shouted him out when they're driving the Arby's car. It was the I don't. It's like a bronzish color. It was the Arrowhead 51 brass Ford.
Yeah.
I just kind of dug it. I like it's like a. This like bronzish, goldish color, but they have this like sleek white in there. And JB, we've talked about how I like that. It was like, and you could tell it was like a plain white body car that they like slapped the gold on top of, and it's like white as a base color is just so. It's just so sharp and looks so good. Actually, I love it too at the end of a race when you can see like the rubber like kind of pelting on there too. It's just like, yeah, give me a nice dirty white too.
And matching that up with the tires as well too.
Yeah,
it's just so
right.
sick.
I just think it's kind of cool. And like again, like this is like a driver who isn't getting a lot of screen time, a lot of air time, and not getting talked about a ton. But you know what? I thought your car looked pretty cool. It's like, at least the colors in my eyes.
Shout out Cody Ware, man.
This is where we're gonna get into our overlap, JB.
Oh boy.
My second car of the week is gonna go to Mr. Chris Buescher.
Hey,
and it's attention to detail. That's what it was. We talk about it all the time. RFK. All the time shows up with some really, really nice looking cars. And I don't know what it is about Chris Buescher. Maybe it's because the 17 is badass. But it's just a badass number and driven by a bunch of badass drivers.
Respect.
Shout out Matt Kenseth.
Respect.
But I mean, it just looked good. I like the orange. Like the orange and the black was already just like a really nice color. And then it had like, and those like kind of like Halloween colors. Kind of had like a Dia de los Muertos theme, which happens around Halloween. Not really this time of year, but nonetheless. Still really cool, really finer details. And then number 1 driver of the car of the week is going to be the hometown guy, Mr. Daniel Suarez, in the number 99. Is it like Telcel? I think it's how it's pronounced.
I think it's Telcel.
No, it looks like Propel to me. Like,
it does look like a Propel bottle.
I kept thinking like the font, the logo, everything. It kind of just like looks to me like Propel.
I don't know what Telcel is, so I don't.
In my mind, it's Spanish for Propel. That's what I'm gonna say it is.
Is it though?
No, probably not at all. But in my head, it's Spanish for Propel. Not only though is he rocking the number 99.
I don't want to know.
And do I think that car looks pretty cool? But shout out to Mr. Daniel Suarez winning the Xfinity race. You know what car he was driving, JB?
What's that?
The number 9.
Hey.
Shout out Chase Hill. He drives the number 9 on the Sundays. Daniel Suarez rocking the number 9 on Saturday. He got the win, so thought it was pretty badass. He was rocking pretty the 9 all weekend. Just with the 3 cars, and then obviously he's in his hometown again. The white base. With the mix of the colors, and maybe you want to throw in a little bit of bias. He's in his hometown. We're giving him some love in his home country and shouting him out. So
it's a wireless mobile company.
Okay, that makes sense. Telcel,
Telcel,
telephone,
yeah.
Sell your phone.
But everything's in Spanish, so I can't read any of this.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna close out of that before my browser just switches over to Spanish. All right.
But yeah, so that's gonna be my cars of the week. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit of like I said, bias in there, but nonetheless.
But it looks sweet though, like you said. It kind of looks like the side of a Propel bottle.
Yeah,
You just turned it sideways.
It looks like Propel, and that's why I'm going with it. Because in my head, I don't really care about the cell phone company, but Propel. Propel is delicious. Had 2 big bottles over the weekend while I was playing disc golf.
Hey,
So,
how'd disc golf go?
good. I was telling everybody I shot a 77 on 18, and then they're just kind of like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
they're like,
know
damn,
that.
you got it like that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's disc golf, it's 20 over par. Par is 57.
I will never understand golf
But,
or disc golf.
But yeah, no, like I mean, a pro goes out and shoots like in the 70s. Like you try to go, like someone goes and breaks 80 on 18, you're like, damn, they're a really good golfer. So yeah, I said it to Neil, and I was just like, yeah, I just like shot 77 on 18 with my dad, and Neil just kind of went like, he didn't have really anything to say, Neil. So
You left Neil speechless.
and
Wow.
yeah, and then I was just like, it's disc golf, and that's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's funny though. So, but nonetheless, JB, that was my cars of the week. That was my Propel spiel on how I think Daniel Suarez's car looks like Propel. But,
Yeah. Shout out. Still a sweet car.
another sweet car, JB. We have to dive into like more of these liveries for IndyCar, because I saw that a couple guys were driving some different paint schemes and different rides from when they were down in Detroit.
Yeah.
It's their first race in 2 weeks. They had last week off. They're 2 weeks ago down in Detroit. They gave NASCAR their full weekend down at MIS. They've been doing testing in St. Louis, getting ready for the race and stuff like that, and in IndyCar, and finally had their race. Joseph Newgarden, that's the one car I thought looked the coolest. It was the PPG paints, and I'm just remembering from when we were like looking, we were walking around, and they had the Penske trailer with all their stuff. They had the PPG like hat, which I thought looked really cool, and it reminded me of the Ryan Blaney PPG paints car in the NASCAR series. But yeah, I don't know if you got to see the race at all, JB, but there was a pretty crazy crash involving Joseph Newgarden. I think he was in the lead, and Louis Foster exiting a turn ends up like getting into the wall. It's kind of all over the track, and then Joseph Newgarden just has nowhere to go, crashes right into him, ends up flipping upside down, and just like skidding across the track. It was pretty insane. They ended up being okay, thankfully. Just shows like the testament of like the safety of these cars and stuff like that. And they're talking about it as you just see him upside down skid, and they're like the little like that like pointed top piece in the middle. Yeah, well, they go into like the cockpit, and then behind them there's like that like big like arch like mount.
I know what you're talking about.
And like that was like the piece that like kept like him up more or less, like so like like the cockpit wasn't like scraping along.
That's always something that worries me, like when they get into a wreck or something like extreme as this, and the car actually flips over. Like
yeah, they were talking about like
I know you got your helmet on and everything, but like that top
it's
opening
open.
is open. Like,
yeah,
you're fully exposed, so whatever asphalt, grounded grass that you're on, just sliding.
So thankfully, like talking about like the safety features doing their job as far as like taking care of the driver. And then Kyle Kirkwood, his second,
the king of Detroit,
his second consecutive win, his third on the year. There are still only 2 unique winners on the season in the NTT IndyCar series, which I honestly was kind of rooting for. He was Rosenquist late with the lead, and then who else was up there fighting? I can't remember right now, but
it wasn't Will Power because he finished.
No, Will Power crashed early, unfortunately, and I think McLaughlin. The Team Penske not been running great lately. They've had Indy. Since Indy, right a couple days before the race, they fire a couple of like their top executives. Scott McLaughlin crashes out. Joseph Newgarden had some failures. I don't remember if Will Power finished at Indy. Go to Detroit. Not a great race for McLaughlin. Not a great race for Newgarden. Will Power was up near the front. Ends up fading a little bit late. I think he maybe to get a top 5, but he didn't finish podium. Was outside the top 3. And then this race, I'm pretty sure all three guys crashed out. At one point, McLaughlin and Newgarden were up near the front running. I think Newgarden crashed out when he was leading, and that wasn't his fault. But, I mean, mix of bad luck and whatever else is going on, some bad juju. You know, maybe they need to, say fuck Jobu in the Team Penske garage. So I do it myself.
Something's going on over there. I don't know what.
I don't know, man, but they'll figure it out. They're definitely like too big of a team to like kind of let those issues keep bugging them and stuff like that. I know, Big Raj ain't gonna stand for those things. He's gonna stand for that. But
Shout
Cup
out
guys,
to,
they're taking care of business. All three got to win this year. They're all locked into the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
shout out to Kyle Kirkwood once again. I feel like him and Alex Palou kind of just like flip flop spots. Like Alex Palou was winning the first half of the season, and now it's flipped over to Kyle.
Well, I want to say it went Palou, Kirkwood, Palou,
And
Palou, Kirkwood. It might have been only 4 in a row for Palou. Might have been 5, but either way, he'd won like 5 out of the first 6, and Kirkwood's won 3 out of the first 8. So, so that's insane and pretty cool. It's cool. Like, I mean, obviously, like, Justin got to talk to him and meet him a little bit more, and that's really cool. Hopefully, like, we get to see him continue to succeed, and he drives for Team Andretti. Christian Rasmussen had a podium finish. Paddle Award in second, too. So it went Kyle Kirkwood, Paddle Award, second place finish, up on the podium, and still in second place in the standings on the season. And then Christian Rasmussen, his first ever podium, just was flying. He definitely had the fastest car on the track all weekend. There was a couple more laps. I think he would have won the race. But just I think he made the most passes out of anybody with over like 42 or something like that on the track over the course of the whole race. Made up like over 20-some positions from start to finish. Was flying. I want to shout out Christian Rasmussen and the ECR team because, I mean, when I tapped into the Indy 500, I definitely was like, those are some cool-looking cars, some cool-looking fonts. I loved the way the ECR team was running 1, 2, 3. Reminded me of 01 Daytona 500 when you had Waltrip Jr. and Dale Sr. running 1, 2, 3 because Sr. was running third, letting his 2 kids run out in front of him with Jr. and Waltrip. And that was what was running back. You had Rossi and Rasmussen running 1, 2 with Ed Carpenter in third. And I was just like, oh, man, dude, this would be so fucking cool. And like it's so cool seeing those guys finish 1, 2, 3 or something close. If one of them gets a win, like I said, that like brief little moment right there was probably what endeared me to ECR. I got the magnet on my fridge, and I'm always gonna shout them out.
Nice.
Shout out. Like I said, a little bit of bias with today's episodes, but shouting out to the hometown Daniel Suarez. Obviously we're giving love to Paddle Award, but I'm always gonna lean to my countrymen. I'm from America,
and I'm always gonna lean towards one Miss Haley Deegan. Shout out Haley Deegan.
Shout out, heck yeah.
Indy NXT series. She finished 16th, which it's not the end of the pack, but still.
Yeah, and Nolan Eiler got 9th as well. I saw Nolan Eiler top 10, finished 9th as well. So hopefully they come back. I can't remember where I want to say they're at Road America this week. I might be wrong.
Definitely got to double check. Yeah.
But yeah, either way, some opportunity to bounce back. Looking forward to it. Definitely got to still pay a little bit more attention, learn a lot more about IndyCar, at least for myself. But having fun,
myself as well.
It's cool when the motorsports are staggered and you get done watching one race and it's like
you
cool.
can watch another one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's different, a little bit different, a little bit. It's something fun. Obviously, I like when I get to watch the NASCAR race first and then the IndyCar, because it's like, all right, this is what I know and I understand a little bit more, and then I feel like I've gotten my fill of what I like, and then it's like, all right, cool, I've definitely gotten all of a substance filling meal, and now I can go and try
have
out
some dessert.
Yeah, try out all these new desserts and see which ones I like and don't like, and it's
just shift gears to something new.
Exactly. It's a great way of putting it, shifting gears. So heck yeah, I really dig that, really enjoy that. So,
and don't mean to derail anything, but have you finished watching Earnhardt, the documentary?
Not yet.
I literally just finished that over the weekend as well too.
I haven't even started it, JB.
The final 2 episodes.
I heard Ryan Blaney talk about it and how he was crying and it was making him really sad.
Dude, episode 4 is just
I heard about that, and honestly, it made me not want to watch it. Now, I will eventually watch it, but I was like, I don't want to get sad right now. Let me just have a gloomy weekend where it's raining and I'm feeling a little bit pouty, boy, and let me just cry and cry and cry about Dale for but I just don't. I feel like looking out there, look at the sun shining, JB. I don't want.
No, you don't want to be sad.
I don't want to bring those dark clouds into my day.
I will say this: episodes 1 and 2 are like solely focused on Dale, and then 3 becomes Dale and Dale Jr., and then 4 is obviously the crash.
I was listening to a Dale Jr. interview yesterday. It was like, I think he was on JRE. I was just like a clip of them talking about him, just like him and his dad. And I just thought that was so interesting. And honestly, I was like, you could hear the emotion and like him talking about it. And honestly, it was making me sad. I was just like walking around, like taking care of some shit in my apartment, and I was just like, damn.
Him, his sister, and his other brother are all in the documentary as well too. So
yeah,
they all were racing back then when they were younger. So shout out to them, man.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I said, just hearing him talk about their relationship, I like the aftermath and everything like that. Very
So
very tough, very interesting.
So if you did want to watch it, I will say watch up to episode 3 and then just cut it off before.
Yeah, watch episode 1 and 2.
Cut it off before episode 4 on like a little sad, gloomy day. And then,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's very, very fair. But well, JB, that might be. I think this is episode 15 of Fast and Loose. I couldn't.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if there's any number 15 drivers. There's none that stuck out to me, but I do have a Greg Biffle diecast. Just for a little sneak peek of what will be on the desk next week for episode 16. Honestly, Greg Biffle was my least favorite of the Roush drivers. I did not like.
Why is that?
I wasn't a fan of I didn't really like his number. I didn't like the font that they used, which honestly like isn't too far off from the old school like Mark Martin font, but I didn't like the 1 in front of the 6. I just like the 6 looked good. The 16 I didn't like, and I don't know, like I just thought Greg Biffle was boring. Like I don't know, like I don't know. My neighbor was a big Biffle fan. Always like stick with the Biff, and he was a really good driver. I didn't realize how good of a driver he was and stuff like that. But because he won in the Truck Series championship, he won an Xfinity championship, and he didn't get the Cup Series championship. But I mean, he was close, and he would have been one of the only or the first to ever win in all 3. So that's pretty great. But yeah, something to look forward to next week. Obviously, like I wanted to bring out the 97 Kurt Busch, the Ward Burton, the Bobby Labonte we talked about with Chris Buescher. I was telling him about that's the car I got waiting in line at the Kroger he was at, and then the Jimmy Spencer, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Spencer. Got to keep them apart. Shout out, pretty funny story back there. Got to send JB those NASCAR fights. But nonetheless, this has been episode 15 of Fast and Loose with JB Smooth and Chase Amley. He's fast, I'm loose, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.